So at this point, everyone, my fellow market heroes, we know that short calls is indeed a profitable strategy. Again, while it's counterintuitive, right? It's a bearish strategy and it's profitable in a bullish market. In fact, the more bullish the market is, the more profitable the strategy is. Obviously, there are things like mean reversion, right? But again, getting back to the basics, it's a profitable strategy because we're still selling options. And selling options works because options are priced off the expected move, and the expected move is overstated, right? So even though we're doing it against the trend, against the tide, it's still working, right? So we've shown so far that selling the 16 delta call is the most is a profitable strategy. However, is it the most profitable? Let's find out. So again, all we got to do to execute a short call is just selling a call. We'll make money if the price of the strike price of the option we're selling is out of the money at expiration, if prices go down, or if implied volatility decreases over time. So what we wanted to do here is we want to figure out exactly what is the right delta for our short calls. So what we did from 2003 to present, so it's 14 and a half plus years, depending on when you're actually watching this lesson. So almost 15,000 occurrences here. Every single day, rain or shine, up or down, we sold the 16 delta call, 50 delta call, 30 delta call, and 7 delta call. So let me show you exactly what that looks like here, right? So what we did, the first one we sold was the 50 delta call, right? And selling the 50 delta call, what does that give us in terms of probability of making money, right? In this case, we're selling the 47 delta call, which is a 53% probability of success. If the delta was 50, we would have a 50% chance of making money. Then we sold the 30, right? Selling a 30 delta call gives us a 70% chance of making money. Then we sold the 16 delta call. Selling the 16 delta call gives us 84% chance of making money. And then finally we sold the 7 delta call. Selling the 7 delta call gives us a 93% chance of making money, right? So that's all that is. It's simple math. It's simple math, right? So that's all it is there. That's all we did, right? So we did this in the monthly expiration cycle, closes to 50 days from expiring, and we didn't do any management. We just held until expiration. We want to see how they kind of do on their own. So as it turns out, selling the 50 delta call, it improves in terms of win percentage. Selling a 50 delta call, our expected outcome is right 50% of the time. However, we were in a bull market, so this is a losing strategy. We lose about 42 cents a day, and our largest loss was almost $1,300. That's about a $13 move in SPY. It's pretty big. 30 delta call was a complete wash in terms of P&L. However, we were right more than we were supposed to. Selling a 30 delta call, you're supposed to be right only 70% of the time. We were right 79% of the time, right? But we made no money. Then once we get a little bit further out of the money, right, away from the strike price, away from the price of the current stock, as you guys know, the 16 delta call, we made about 30 cents a day. And we were right 86% of the time when we're supposed to be right 84% of the time, right? And then finally, the 7 delta call, we're supposed to be right 93% of the time. We're right 94% of the time, and we average about 17 cents a day. So out of all these deltas, selling the 16 delta call and just allowing it to expire, the most profitable delta is the 16 delta call. Now let's see what happens when we manage them at 50% of max profit. Maybe the 30 delta call or the 7 delta call will become more profitable for us. So we're trying to check that here, right? So as it turns out, selling the 50 delta call, we're still a loser at 36 cents a day. Selling the 30 delta call, now instead of making no money, we're profitable. And we're profitable way more than we're supposed to be for about 48 cents a day. That's pretty good. Once it gets to the 16 delta call, we are right 93% of the time for 56 cents a day, and your average days in trade is about 16 bucks. Selling the 7 delta call, you're supposed to be right 93% of the time. If we manage the trades at 50% of max profit, we're right 96% of the time, but we only make about 36 cents a day. And that's an interesting one. When we're selling this, the problem is when we're selling the 7 delta call, we're only collecting like 18 cents. We're really not making that much money, right? So it makes a lot of sense that, while we're really, really profitable in terms of percentage, we're not profitable in terms of total P&L because we don't really make that much money. So it's, as it turns out, the sweet spot is kind of what we've been going on all along. The sweet spot here is selling the 16 delta call. So I recommend when you're choosing your strike prices for the delta on the call that it be this 16 delta call. I'll see you on the next video.